Hi, this is Mrs. Clark and welcome to my video on the skill of writing an equation of a line given a slope and a point. So you'll notice I've highlighted the directions here. I want to annotate them quickly. The directions say write the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line through the given point with the given slope. So those are general directions for all of these problems that we're going to be doing. But I want to talk about what a couple of the things mean. So first it says, write the slope-intercept form. So that is just a fancy term, or like the vocabulary term, for y equals mx plus b. So that means every answer that I have is going to be in this form, y equals mx plus b. When I go to read the second part here, it says, we're going to write the equation of the line through the given point with the given slope. So the given point means I'm going to be getting something in an xy, organized in an xy way, and I'm going to be given the slope of the line as well. So our slope is m. Okay, so those two pieces of information are going to help me write this equation. So if I look at the first example here, I want to find the equation of the line that goes through 1, -4, and has a slope of -6. So my xy is 1, -4, and my slope is -6. So my m is -6. So in order to do that, the first thing I need to do is I know I'm going to be writing my equation in this form, y equals mx plus b, so I'm going to go ahead and copy that down. The next thing I'm going to need to do is take the information that I have an x and a y, I have an m, but I don't have a b. So the first step I have to do is to solve for this b. So what I'm going to do is take this x, put it in the x spot, take this y, put it in the y spot, take the m, put it in the m spot, and then I'm going to have an equation where b is going to be the only thing that I don't know, and I'm going to be able to solve for it. So let's go ahead and do that. If I start with y, I'm going to substitute in -4 because that's the y in this point. So I'm going to make a -4. Then I'm going to bring down the equal sign. Then my m is -6, so I'm going to put that here. I'm going to put a parenthesis because it's next to x, which means it's multiplied by x. And then I'm going to put my x value in, which is 1. And then I'm going to bring down plus b because I don't have a value for b. I actually need to find it. In order to write this y equals mx plus b form, I need to know the slope and I need to know the intercept. I have the slope right now, but I'm trying to find the intercept. So the way I do that is I take this equation and I follow my PEMDAS and I use my inverse operations to solve for b. So first I notice that I have this -6 and 1 next to each other, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply those. I'm going to rewrite my equation. -4 equals -6 times 1 is -6. So this together makes just a -6. And then I have this plus b. I'm just going to bring it down. So the only thing I changed was I multiplied -6 times 1 to get -6. Now I have this equation, -4 equals -6 plus b. I need to figure out what b is. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use my inverse operations to get rid of this -6 and bring it to the other side of my equal sign. So in order to do that, I need to know the inverse of -6. So inverse of -6 is going to be +6, which means I'm going to add 6 to both sides of my equation. So this brings back the solving equations that we did in a previous unit. What that's going to do is it's going to get the b by itself. This -6 and +6 are going to cancel out, and this side is just going to be b. So b is going to equal whatever -4 plus 6 are. So if you need to use your calculator, feel free to, but -4 plus 6 is going to be 2. So in this case, b is equal to 2. Now that I know what b is equal to, and I know what m is equal to, I can write my equation in y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down here. Y equals mx plus b. I'm going to fill in the m spot with my slope here. So I'm going to have y equals, this m is going to go in this spot, so -6. Then my x. Then I need the b, so this 2 is going to go in this spot. It's a +2, so I'm going to put +2. So my equation for this line is y equals -6x plus 2. I'm going to put a little box around this so I know that it's my final answer. So there's a lot of different steps here. I want to make sure I get to the final answer, so it's a really good idea to box in your answer. So let's write down the 3 things that we just did. First thing that we did is we, 1, substitute the x, y, and m all into y equals mx plus b. Next thing we did was we solved for b. The last thing we did was we rewrote our equation using m and b. So we had m to start, we used the x and y to figure out what the b was, and then we filled in our m and our b in our equation to get our final result. So let's do 3 more examples together. We'll work through them together, you can write them down, and then you'll have time to practice some problems on your own. So the next problem here, again, I'm given an x and a y, and I'm given my slope, which is m. In this case, my slope is a fraction. So at first, it's going to be a little bit weird, but when I go ahead and do the problem out, you'll see it's not actually as hard or as scary looking with that fraction. All right, so going to the first step, substitute x, y, and m into y equals mx plus b. I'm going to start by writing y equals mx plus b. And then I'm going to fill in my x and my y and my m. So y is going to get filled in with 1. M is going to get, and then put an equal sign. M is going to get filled in with 1/5. X is going to get filled in with a -5. So I'm going to put a parentheses here, -5. And then plus b. So I've substituted in. Now I'm going to solve for b. So first thing I did over here was I multiplied these 2 together to get what they equal before solving for b. So I'm going to do the same thing here, and I multiply 1/5 and -5. So you may have to throw back a little bit to some multiplying with fractions to remember this, but really I'm going to do it off to the side here. What we're doing is 1/5 times -5, which is really -5 over 1. So when I go to do multiplication in this way, I multiply straight across. So 1 times -5 is -5. 5 times 1 is 5. -5 divided by +5 is going to equal -1. So my slope times this x value of -5 is going to equal -1. So when I go to rewrite this, 1 equals, these multiplied together give you -1, and then I have a plus b. So you'll notice this 5 here and this 5 in the denominator kind of canceled each other out, and it was really just negative times 1. Alright, so next you have to finish solving for b, so we need to get the b by itself. So this -1 here needs to move to the other side of the equation. So I need to use the inverse operations. If it's -1, I'm going to add 1 to both sides of the equation, and these are going to cancel out. I'm going to have 1 plus 1, which is 2. 2 is equal to b. So again, in this situation, totally different problem, but the y-intercept is equal to 2 this time. So I'm going to go ahead and fill my slope in and my y-intercept into my equation. So I'm going to start with y equals mx plus b. It's going to be y equals, my slope is 1/5, so I'm going to put 1/5 x plus b. My b is a +2, so plus 2, and then I'm going to put a box around my answer. So we've now done 2 examples that are similar, but one was a fraction, one was not. We're going to do 2 more examples. They should go a lot faster now that we have already gone through these first 2. Right. So now, at the bottom here, we're going to fill in our x and y, and then our m. I'm going to go faster on this one because we already know the process. I've explained it twice, so we should be able to follow this pretty quickly and do the same idea. Fill in my x and y, so I'm going to do 4 equals 4/3 for my slope, parentheses 3 for my x, plus b. So doing this multiplication, 4/3 times 3 over 1, I'm going to get 12 over 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So when I multiplied these two together, I got 4 plus b. I'm going to solve for b by getting rid of this positive 4, so I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides. I'm not going to worry about the fact that this works out to 0 over here. I'm just going to write 0 equals b. So this is a situation where my y-intercept is 0. So when I go to write my equation, y equals mx plus b, I'm going to fill in my slope of 4/3 for my m. Y equals 4/3 x plus b. I can write plus 0, but I don't have to. So I could leave my answer that way, or I could even go one step further and just say 4/3 x. You're probably mostly going to see answer keys written this way, so you just need to know those two are the same thing. Alright, last problem. Through -2, 3 with a slope of -3. So y equals mx plus b. I'm going to fill in my y is 3 equals m is -3, parentheses x is -2 plus b. In this situation, when I go to multiply these two, I'm going to get 3 equals -3 times -2 is a positive 6 plus b. I'm going to solve for my b. I'm going to subtract 6 because that's a positive 6. These will cancel out. 3 minus 6 is going to be -3 equals b. So going to fill in my final equation with my y equals mx plus b form. My m is -3, so I'm going to get y equals -3x plus b, which is actually a negative number this time, so I'm going to put -3. And that is my final answer for that problem. So go ahead and feel free to go back and re-watch this and copy these notes down if you didn't get them all, and ask any questions that you have after watching this video, and go on to practice too. Thanks for watching.